Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Pine Ridgeland High School. My name is Nancy Bowman. I am the principal here at the high school, and I want to start by thanking you to come out. Thank you for coming out on this rainy night. Every year when we schedule this, it always seems to be not such great weather, but we're always excited that so many of our 8th grade parents come out to hear some important information about scheduling for your child entering 9th grade. As we get started, one of the things that happens when we have students come into the auditorium is they're reminded to put the cell phones away and take the earbuds out. I'm actually going to encourage you tonight, if you have a cell phone, you might want to get it out. There will be some information that we put up on the screen that you might want to take a quick picture of. But I also want to let you know that at the end of this evening's presentation, it will be placed on our school website, so you'll be able to go back and review any of the information if you wanted to review it for any reason. So it will be available there as well. Our goal for this evening is to share information about the scheduling process and the courses that are available to your children as they enter the high school. So the building principals and I will be sharing a brief overview about the scheduling process and about the different departments. But the best part of the evening is really going to be once you have an opportunity to leave the auditorium and head to our open LGI, and we'll make sure all of you can find that location, because we have representatives from each of our content departments here this evening that will be able to share information about the courses that are offered through those departments. We are so proud of the opportunities that we provide all of our students here at the high school, and we encourage you to learn as much as you can about those so that you can help your child as they're making some decisions and getting ready for their first year with us here at the high school. So here at Pine Ridgeland High School, this is just a brief overview. We have 4 grades. We have well over 1,500 students. We have a number of different clubs and activities. The way I talk about the clubs and activities that are here at the high school is that if your child has a particular interest, they will find an opportunity to get involved beyond the school day in that interest. There are students that come to me on a regular basis, even in February, to talk about a particular interest that they have and desire to start a club. So as much as we have well over 35 established clubs and activities here at the high school, there are 2 new ones that just got started over the past month. And it started with conversations between students and teachers and wanting to get involved in a particular area. We are fortunate to have a team of counselors that we will introduce you to this evening, a team of principals, and the most talented staff I've ever had an opportunity to work with. You'll have an opportunity to meet some of those folks tonight, and then as your child experiences classes here at high school, you'll have more opportunity to get to know our staff as well. How many of you have already looked at the program of studies online? Hopefully that was because your child, after we talked the one day they came over to the high school, they shared a little bit about where to find that program of studies. So thank you for taking a look at that. Within the program of studies, there is information on the first few pages about the number of credits that are required for graduation here at the high school. We have an outlined graduation plan that your child's counselor will begin discussions with in the next few weeks as they begin to have their first meeting for scheduling. But it's really important that as you are having those discussions about your child's schedule, that you are taking a look at not just the requirements, but really beginning to map out a plan. As our counselors talk to students, they talk about the importance of keeping that plan in pencil. It's actually a shared Google Doc now, so it can be edited when the counselor and student are meeting. But we know that that's something that's going to change over time, and we want that to be a document that guides discussions in the home, guides discussions with students as they're talking with teachers, and then also guides discussions as your child is working on developing that schedule with their counselor. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Seviller. She's one of our assistant principals. She's going to share some additional information.
Good evening, everyone. Again, thank you so much for taking time out of your evenings to be here with us. As Mrs. Bowman mentioned, our program of studies details everything, almost everything you need to know about the high school. You'll find information about what the day looks like, planning for college and career readiness, and of course, all of the information you would need to know about courses, course descriptions, prerequisites, and so on. I really encourage you to take a long look at this document because now is when those decisions have to be made about scheduling. And there's a lot of links in this document that will help you and your student pick classes and really understand what a certain class is. There's videos, all kinds of helpful tools to let you make appropriate decisions with your child. Mrs. Bowman mentioned the graduation plan. That's on page 8 of the program of studies. Such a wonderful planning tool that your school counselor will use with your student and of course with you to the whole way through your high school, your student's high school experience. A new page that we have developed for this year in the program of studies is the very next page on page 9. It's our time management planner. What our thought is with including this in the program of studies is helping students to make choices not only about the academics, but we know they're involved in so much outside of the classroom as well. And the fact is there's a finite number of hours that you can plan for each week. So this document should help you and your student take a look at all of the commitments he or she is in. The classes that they're taking at the high school, activities outside of the high school, sports, and so on, and even just some time for sleep and relaxation. We want all of our students to engage in a lot of activities, and there's so much here for students to take and to be a part of at the high school. We know they want to do it all, but there's a lot of time over 4 years to take different electives and become involved with sports, clubs, and activities. I'd like to welcome Mr. Pushkas, the other assistant principal, up, and he's going to introduce our school counseling team.
So I'm fortunate to introduce really the heartbeat or the support system of every student that's going to come through here. These folks will be a good contact for you, not only for the scheduling process, but throughout the school year. I'm new to Pine Richland this year. I'm 6 months in, so I started like more or less the day before school started. So this year I'll be able to help your students much more than the current 9th grade class who kind of led me around and helped me find things. So I'm excited about that. First up, really the way this is outlined is find on the side there the students A through D, last names. That's who your student will have as a counselor, so I won't go through each and every one of them, but I will introduce our counselors. They're all over here. I'll ask them to stand up so you kind of put a face to a name, find your last name where it starts. That'll be your school's counselor, and you'll be meeting with them and talking to them throughout the school year. So first up, our newest school counselor, who is more of a rookie here than I am, Mrs. Jasmine Holliday. For students E through K, Ms. Jennifer Bowers. Students L through R, Mrs. Tony Filipowski. Students S through Z, Mrs. Leslie Straub. Our transition counselor, Sean McCartney. Director of College and Career Counseling, Mrs. Jean Whalen. And our social worker, Mrs. Carolyn Welshons. So now to the fun part, talking a little bit about the scheduling process. So what we've been working on so far, your child's teachers have given you their recommendations based on their performance in their current academic classes. So these are on, based on academic performance and outlined as far as course prerequisites go. So many of you raised your hand, you've already seen the program of study, so I'm guessing you've seen some of the prerequisites and you have an idea of the direction your child might be going. So the next step in the process is Happy Valentine's Day. Let's talk about where we're going to go, where we're going to take next school year. Okay? So on February 14th, your student will have a paper copy of their recommendations. And we're asking you, you don't have to do them on Valentine's Day, but to sit down and look at the program of studies with your child and just go over their path and what you think they're going to want to take next year. The most important part about this slide is the elective portion. So 2 choices, your top choice and then an alternate. Because as much as we try to get students to all the elective they want to take, that doesn't always work out sometimes. So we want to make sure we have at least 2 choices to work from. So hopefully you get choice 1 or 2. The other part on this to keep in mind is students can step down in a class. And the example from that is from an honors class to an academic class, but they may not step up. Okay, they need a certain performance in a prerequisite course. You can still move up, but there's a process involved in this where you fill out a waiver form. It must be submitted with the schedule so that we know you're bumping up in a course selection. And I'm going to turn it back over to Mrs. Bowman.
So as Mr. Pushka said, on Thursday of this week, all of your children will come home with their initial scheduling form. And then the fun begins, because it's time for you as a family to sit down and talk about what those elective offerings are going to be. And you have about a week to complete that. So on Friday, February 22nd, we ask that all students return a signed, that is so important, parent-signed, student-signed scheduling document. And then that document is sent to the guidance office at the middle school, and the guidance counselors begin to have individual scheduling meetings with all of the students. So they will sit down with your child and make sure that your child has all of the courses listed, that they have all of the alternates listed. They will have those discussions so that when the middle school sends the completed forms over here to the high school, we can begin to use that information to build the master schedule and do all that we can to make sure that every student has their courses that they have selected, either the elective that they've chosen or, as Mr. Pushkas mentioned, a possible alternate. Through the scheduling process and that planned course, I think I covered this already, but it really is important, and this was shared with your children when they came over to the high school, I almost said middle school. When they came over to the high school recently, we talked about the importance of making sure that they do get that form turned in on February 22nd. I was able to say to our junior class this year, the day has finally arrived. We tell the students every year that when we schedule, we start with our incoming seniors. So we build our schedule based on the requests that our seniors make. And so what that means for our 9th grade students is they really are the last ones that we schedule. And we know that they have 4 years with us. And so there's plenty of time and opportunity for them to have the electives in their schedule that they would like. They might not get them their 9th grade year, but as they continue on at the high school, for the most part, we're able to give them the elective offerings that they have. One of the most important pieces of that is to be prepared when they have that meeting with their counselor. So when they turn in that form next Friday on February 22nd, that's the time to make sure that they are ready to go for that scheduling meeting. They come up pretty quickly, and if they miss that turn-in date, their schedule goes to the bottom of the pile. So we want to make sure that they are prepared for that meeting. The scheduling process is a challenging one. As I mentioned, we have close to 1,600 students here at the high school. So I want to make sure we stress with all of you that we are not able to honor requests for a specific teacher, for a specific lunchtime, for a specific period for a study hall. Those things just aren't, we're not able to honor those requests that so many people have. So we do our best to be fair in our scheduling process. So, we mentioned to the students that the master schedule, that's the schedule for those 120 plus teachers, for the 1,500 plus students. If we are going to make sure that we are able to schedule all of our students based on the requests and needs that they have academically, we have to begin that scheduling process now. So Dr. Seviller is our scheduling master here at the high school. She has already started to map out some of the things that we already know we need to do in terms of some pre-planning. And as soon as we have the schedules from the students, we begin to schedule them into our system. Computer-based, and it's a pretty lengthy process, but we have to get that process started early. We have a lot of students that make decisions, and then over the summer, for whatever reason, they change their mind. And the challenge of that is that we are building the schedule and making classes available based on what we know as students schedule now. So Dr. Pasquinelli, our assistant superintendent, uses the phrase all the time. He talks about how important it is for students and families to do the heavy lifting of the schedule now, so that you are very set up for success before you come into the high school in the fall. If a student needs to make any type of schedule change, we don't begin to make those changes based on an add request or a drop request until after the first day of school. The adds and the drops, because we still have a high number of those at times, start with our seniors. So if your student coming in as a 9th grade student needed to drop a class or add a class, it might be 2 weeks into school before that can happen. So we really do stress the importance of making very careful, very thoughtful decisions now. If you have questions, ask us. Ask the counselors at the middle school. If they're not able to help, they definitely will call our counseling team here at the high school, and we will get the answers that you need now so that you can make the decisions now. That's the best way to set all of our students up for a successful year as they enter the high school. We do have a schedule policy for alternative instructional methods. From time to time, we do have students that might need to recover a credit. Oftentimes that happens as a student progresses through the high school. If they weren't successful in a particular course, we have course requirements. They might find themselves in need of recovering a particular credit because they weren't successful in the class when they enrolled in it for the first time. We also have students that might want to accelerate in a particular area. There is a policy that I encourage you, if this is something you and your child are talking about, I strongly recommend that you take a look at policy 124. It's outlined in the program of studies. It's also easily accessible through our website looking at board policies, but there are deadlines associated with this policy. So if this is something that you're thinking about for your 8th grader, you need to make sure that you are making those decisions now. I will stress the importance of having the conversation with your child's teacher, with your child's counselor, because we want to make sure that it is an appropriate choice for your child as well. They have 4 years with us. If they're coming into the high school and they want to make sure that they take what is, in my opinion, the most challenging course we offer, which is AP Calculus BC, they will have that opportunity here at the high school. So it's important to look at graduation plan. It's important to consider and map out the classes now that your child wants to take, because in so many instances, there really is not a need to accelerate. Let them take their time through high school and enjoy being with us, because we enjoy that they're here. We want them to enjoy their experience as well.
So I want to talk a little bit about what your student's day looks like at the high school, life at the high school. We have 8 academic periods and a lunch period. Students have 4 minutes in between classes to move from one classroom to another. Each student is assigned a locker with a combination lock. And I promise you, all students are nervous about finding their way through the high school when they first come. It's a big building, but they all do it wonderfully, and they all do it a lot sooner than they think they will. Same with the locker. They will get a hang of that too if that's a nervous thing for anyone. We will provide opportunities over the summer before the start of the school year for students to come and practice those things. We'll have a freshman orientation, of course, as well. Your child's schedule will consist of the classes listed behind me, or those departmental courses. So English, Math, Science, Social Studies. We do recommend that Health and PE is taken in 9th grade. Their lunch, of course, and then any electives. So as you're looking at that scheduling form, keep in mind that there's 8 periods to fill, and we've added things in like lunch on that recommendation form so you don't forget to count that, and you can count out exactly what is open in your child's schedule. Most freshmen are very, very excited to take all of the elective offerings at the high school. This is the most compacted that their schedule is going to be. So a lot of room opens up in those schedules, sophomore, junior, and especially senior year. So as Mrs. Bowman had said, they don't get something their freshman year, there is plenty of opportunity to take that. On these next couple slides, we went into a little bit more detail with your students about the different course offerings in English, Math, Science, and Social Studies. But we have our teachers here and our department leaders to share some of that information with you. So what I really just want to highlight is that there are options for different levels in each of our core academic departments. So you're going to want to look at the program of studies, review the prerequisites, and of course your students' current teachers are making recommendations based on classroom performance and some other data points right now. There are videos that are associated with some of these departments that talk about the electives in those departments, but again, you'll be able to hear from our department chairs when you visit them today. So we'll just click through that. Just know that there are options in all of those departments.
So for the electives, it's really kind of the same idea, is to make sure you look through the program of studies and find all the fine details in there. Different links and different videos that will help advertise some of the things you might want to select. So what we have up here on the screen, I won't go through all of them, but to give you an idea of the scope, we have representatives here from each department when we presented to your child, and representatives from each and every one of these are here tonight in the STEAM LGI, or I'm sorry, the Open LGI, to answer any questions you might have about those courses. So it'll be more interactive than just sitting here and going through a PowerPoint presentation. You'll get a chance to find those folks and talk to them there.
Tag team. So one of the benefits that we have here at Pine Ridgeland High School is a tremendous partnership with our friends just down the road on Babcock Boulevard, and that's through Beatty Career and Tech Center. We have a number of students that participate in the programs at Beatty, and you're going to have an opportunity. This is one video we do want to take a few minutes to share with you. It includes stories and information about 2 of our seniors that participate in the Beatty program and the benefits of that program. It is something that is available for our students in grades 10 through 12, but we do want to make sure that you have an opportunity to preview the information. So I'm going to go ahead and show the video.
I get here with my friends. We normally go get breakfast.
You're here for a good 4 hours and get all your main classes in, and you get to see all your friends still.
I go to my homeroom, and then I have a period 1, which is just a study hall. My period 2 is a core class. I have math class, and then after math I have my English. I take 4 years English. And after English I have peer buddies, and after peer buddies I have physical science. And after physical science I have lunch.
You can stay for lunch, do any activities that are here at Pine Ridgeland. I've been coming here for 3 years. It's definitely different, not really sitting in the classroom as much, and it's a lot more freedom. You get to do your projects at your own pace and give it 10 good pumps. It's really, really nice.
sit nice. Can we have Woody and Curious George sit so nice? This is Chicka Chicka Boom Boom by Bill Martin Jr. Whee! Said D to E. I didn't think I would go to high school to be with kids a quarter of my age. It says ho ho ho. Santa! Yeah! And they all wake up from nap and they'll see me and they'll say my name and give me the biggest hug, and it's the best feeling. It's the best part of my day every day.
I do the HVAC program.
Early childhood education.
That's not just one single thing. That's like plumbing, electrical, oil furnaces, air conditioning.
By completing 3 years, it opens up a lot of doors for multiple different certifications.
Whole list of things. It's not just one solid thing.
I can become CDA certified in young toddler, infants, toddlers, preschool for sure.
And so it never gets boring. You're never doing the same thing every single day.
And we're also job shadowing. So when I graduate, I'll be able to say that I've job shadowed 2nd grade, 1st grade, and kindergarten.
It should be right about where it is at 50 on this co-op. Yeah, that's a program that I do. You can come to Beatty, and then a couple days a week you can go to work also. I work at Hampton School District.
Do you feel guilty going to help the Talbots when you're actually
Yeah, sometimes, but it's always good. They're good people.
Beatty does a really nice job of not pushing college.
You will be able to work right after here.
And Beatty does a really nice job of getting job fairs and different schools to come in and represent, and just to say, like, if you do want college, here are your options. But they also get people that have small businesses that didn't go to college, are a contractor, and have a really great business going.
That's really nice too. I wanted to come here because buddies have just told me in the past that it's worth it.
We actually had a representative come in when I was a freshman, and I was sitting with one of my friends, and I looked at him and I was like, this is awesome. Like, this sounds like such a great pathway for me to go to. Like, I really need to do this.
I like coming here because I meet new kids from other schools, and I come here with a couple guys from PR, and we all get along, and it's a fun time.
If there's an 8th or 9th grader that is dead set on being a mechanic, dead set on being a nurse, dead set on being a veterinarian or a physical therapist, a chef or a hairstylist, I would for sure pursue their pathway.
I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely worth your time if you're into any classes that they have at Beatty, and if you're a hands-on person, it's definitely worth it.
So we're fortunate tonight to actually have one of the representatives from Beatty here to just give you some brief information. But again, just like with all of our other elective offerings here at the high school, Sean will be available in the open LGI if you have some individual questions for him. But let me introduce Mr. Sean Anarelli from Beatty.
Thank you, guys. The kids never clap for me, so thank you. My claim to fame, I graduated from Hampton in 2007, and I always tell people that I played baseball against Neil Walker. We took different paths. So I'm glad you guys like me. So we have a lot of cool things going on over at Beatty. We are sending 28 kids to the state competition at Skills USA next month. We are inducting 65 kids into National Technical Honor Society next month as well. All the same requirements as National Honor Society that you guys might know about, except that they also have to have at least a 93% average in our programs. I love telling stories about our kids. That's my job over there. So I'll tell you some stories. I love Luke and Vic. Luke is trying to get a job full-time after high school at Pine Ridgeland. We actually have another Pine Ridgeland senior who is in one of our programs, same as Luke, and he is earning $23 an hour in his job right now part-time. He's going to put that money, if you do $23 an hour full-time, that comes out to close to $50,000 a year. He's going to put that money toward being an airplane mechanic someday, to go to school and be an airplane mechanic. We have another kid that is graduated a couple years ago. Her name's Paulette. She graduated from North Allegheny, and she's going to school right now to Pitt to be a dentist one day. She's also working over at Lott Family Dentistry off McKnight. So if you go in there and you see a tall blonde, that's Paulette. What I love doing with our students is learning what their passions are, learning where they want to go. I think the best thing that we can do as educators is not just teach them the skills that they're going to need to be successful, but also empower them to pursue their dreams. I met a girl today who graduated in 2012. She was a Fox Chapel graduate. And she knew from middle school she wanted to go into nursing. About 6 or 7 years now, I can't tell time anymore. 6 or 7 years now out of high school, she actually works over at UPMC Passivant, and she's a senior nurse over there, doing very well for herself. I love our success stories. I love knowing what our kids are capable of. I think that over at AW Beatty, it's different from what it was like maybe 20 or 30 years ago. These are programs that, much like Pine Richland, out of our 20 programs, we are trying to make each and every kid career and college ready in every way possible through giving them real world experiences. So what I want to leave you with is if your kid is interested in the program, please explore it. That's why I tell the kids, explore it. See what the opportunities are. See what it would be like. There can be great paths and great avenues for them to take. We do have an open house on February 28th. If you guys would like to come, we have a ton of alumni there. We would actually be able to meet some of our most successful ones. I think my favorite success story is Katrina Cahill. She graduated 8 years ago. I don't know from which school district. She graduated 8 years ago though, and she is now ranked #7 hairstylist in the country after attending our company.
She's a Pine Richland grad.
Is she? Okay, great. Thank you. You are on it. Thank you for the save. So that's all I have. Thank you, folks. If you see me on my table, please come up and meet me and talk to me. I appreciate it.
Another special person we want to make sure you have an opportunity to meet this evening is Mrs. Jean Whalen. She is our Director of College and Career Services.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the high school. I know this is an exciting time for you as a parent, whether you have a student at the high school already or if this is your first time. I want to reassure you that it's a great place and that everyone here is dedicated to helping your student be successful for the next 4 years. You've received a lot of information about academics, electives. One of the other great resources the high school offers, but your child actually had at the middle school as well, is Naviance. Naviance is the largest college and career software program in the entire world. We actually use it here to help students explore their strengths. So every year, the guidance office and some of the core academic classes will be using Naviance to administer a series of assessments. In 9th grade, our office will be doing something called the Learning Style Inventory. I consider that one of the most important lessons that our office does. It helps students learn what style of learning works best for them. I encourage you, when you hear that we were in the classroom and we did this assessment, ask your student to log into their Naviance account and you can view the results with them. Or, once they're here in 9th grade, you can contact me and you can be my parent partner. If you're a parent partner in Naviance, every time I have an email, sometimes it's just towards 9th graders, sometimes it goes out to the whole high school, you'll receive that email in addition to your child. So what might I email a 9th grader? I might email a 9th grader a scholarship opportunity that's not just for seniors. I might email a 9th grader some of the things that we just completed in class, and if you receive that information as a parent, it keeps you, on track with the rest of us, so you know what our office is doing in the classroom. In addition, there are a lot of other things in Naviance which will help you. There's summer enrichment programs listed, all the colleges and career speakers I host throughout the year. On any given year, I host over 100 opportunities for students to take advantage of. So that helps them make a connection between what they're learning in the building and their future. So again, welcome to the high school. Enjoy the journey. I'm sure it'll be fun.
So I am currently in my 5th year as the Pine Richland High School principal. Could not be more proud when someone asks me what I do. I get to tell them that I am the Pine Richland High School principal. I get some strange looks from people because they begin to process the fact that I spend every single day from August through the beginning of June with about 1,600 teenagers. I'm telling you, I love it. And every adult that has waved to you or spoken with you this evening has that same level of passion in working with your children. Over the last year, it's been a little more than a year, I've had another great opportunity where I've been able to be involved in interviewing potential assistant principal candidates. And one of the questions that we ask the candidates, we share with them the Pine Richland Pride values. And we ask that candidate to rank them in order of importance. And when we started asking that question, I did a, whew, thank goodness I don't have to answer that. Because on any given day, I might say that resiliency is the most important pride value. I might say that it's engagement. But the most exciting thing about Pine Richland High School is that your child has the opportunity to live and experience every one of those Pine Richland School District values every single day that they are with us. And there is nothing more exciting than being able to welcome your children into that fold with all of us next year. So thank you so much for coming out this evening to learn a little bit more about Pine Richland High School. To hear similar information, because I see some familiar faces in the room, to hear similar information, but it's different because every one of your children are different. And also to have an opportunity to meet some of our staff. And that's what we're going to do next. So in just a minute, when I allow you to leave, dismiss you, like I say to the students, our counselors are in the back of the auditorium and they will guide you to the area that is our open LGI down by our cafeteria, and that is where our teachers are, and they will be able to share important information about all of the departments in the building. And I encourage you to visit with them, ask them questions, ask them about the diverse opportunities that provide engagement for your children every day. Dr. Seviller, Mr. Pushkis, and I will remain in the front of the auditorium, so if you have any individual questions, we are here and we are happy to do our best to answer any of your questions. In addition to the three of us, Mr. Sean McCartan, who is our transition counselor and works with our students that are supported through our special education services and have an IEP, he will be here as well, so if that is your child and you have a few questions, he will be able to help answer those as well. I know that Mrs. Wayland will remain up front too, so you can also ask her some questions. With that, we encourage you to go ahead and head down to our open LGI, and over the next 45 minutes, take advantage of the opportunity to meet some of our teachers. Thank you so much again for being here. We really do appreciate your time. Thank you.